It's 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna get started. Tonight I will be decluttering my fridge. So if you're here watching along, hi Sarah, happy to see you. If you can't join me right now, then you can always watch the replay. You can let me know if you see it. You can comment and do like hashtag replay just so I can know that you got to see it. So anyway, I'm gonna start with my fridge. I'm gonna start on my fridge. So I have a disclaimer right off the bat. Some of you may have been following me, for a few months and have seen that I have already, organized and cleaned out my my fridge like a while ago. I used some acrylic bins and I have some other bins, so I'm going to talk about those things, but I have had a pretty busy couple of weeks, so it's definitely time for, a clean out, like refresh sort of. So I'm going to do that now, but I'm going to talk about the things that I've found that work really well and talk about some of, just the habits that I've gotten into with my family. Just also a disclaimer, my kids are in the other room, so if they run in and out, just real life. So, so anyway, this is my fridge. So, right off the bat, actually, I want to say that I like to keep my, the outside and the kind of the whatever walls of the outside of the fridge cleared off if I can. So, my husband put these things on here. These are actually just little notes that I'm writing, reminders of things. So I'm going to put these actually in a better spot. Jack, please don't climb underneath that. Hey, come out from there, please. I don't want you to knock this over. Yes. Okay, you just walk around. That's okay. This is also important, so I'm going to put this in an important spot. Which is my desk, which is right over here. So what I have left on the front here is just a functional thing. Some people have like whiteboards. This is literally just like one of these binder page protector insert things, and I just put a sheet of white paper in it. So it has my shopping list, and that's backwards. You don't really need to see my shopping list anyway. But this way as, good job, honey. Are you all done? Mm-hmm. Okay, good job. All right, guys, go back in the living room, please. Anyway, as things get used up, I keep it right on the fridge. So it's really just Mike and I, my husband. We can just write it right down. And there's like a magnetic dry erase marker right here too. And on the bottom of the sheet, just for myself, as I'm going through the fridge, and if I notice something that's like about to go bad, or like just something that I like maybe bought the materials to make it, but I haven't made it yet, then I might just make a little note for myself, like right now it says to make, and I have sloppy joes just because that's something that Mike has requested lately. So my hamburger meat is frozen, so that's fine, but I know it's something that we want to have on our menu at some point soon. So anyway, that's the front of the fridge. On this side over here, I don't know if you can still see me, but I just have Mike's work calendar, which he gets from his job. So this is just a functional kind of thing, and I keep it on this side because it's sort of facing my desk and because we can see it when we come in. And this is the side where I hang like the kids' artwork and stuff like that. So, we can still see it, but it still kind of keeps the front side, clean and streamlined looking, because just for me, that's like, I just feel better, like less mental clutter when I see, a clean surface. So also, kind of the same goes for the top of the fridge, and right now there's a lot more up there than I like to have. We used to keep our cereal on top of the fridge when we had our last apartment, so I think it's kind of an old habits thing, but we also have like an unreasonable amount of cereal at most times because my husband is a big I have like some cereal bins in the cabinet here that I try to keep filled and labeled and stuff. So this is really just the overflow cereal. So that's that. Also some snacks that I didn't want my kids to get a hold of and go rampant with. It's frustrating. I have 3 pretzels left in the bottom of this jar. So those can go in there. Let's see, I have an acrylic bin here that has some overflow drink mix stuff, so I am going to keep that there just because that's kind of where it lives right now. But this is one example of the acrylic bin that I was talking about. So this is hot chocolate and Ovaltine, although actually, no, it hasn't expired yet, so we'll keep it around for a little bit longer. But the next time I look at it, if it hasn't really been used up, I'll probably toss it because we've had it for a while. But, and then, let's see, this box, this is our bulk order of mint chocolate truffles. The weather is getting warmer, so I think I probably should transfer this into like a fridge-friendly container and store it in the fridge so that they don't melt, because on the top of the fridge they'll probably get kind of soft. So I can do that in a little bit. So other than that, we keep a fly swatter up here, and these are, we have a little collection of like breakfast sort of tray things. But anyway, it's nice and flat. It's kind of a low profile, so that's really how I prefer it. I do have a big drink container up in the corner, that other acrylic looking thing. It doesn't really fit in any of my cabinets, and it's clear, so it's not like too, you know, whatever, chaotic to sort of have it just sort of tucked in the corner up there. So anyway, that feels better to me, and really all I had to do was kind of put the cereal in its place, and I will deal with the chocolates later. So anyway, I guess we'll get to the inside now. So I will start with the main fridge. I'm gonna scoot this little spoon thing over to hold the door open. I just want to see, make sure there's no questions or anything. Hi, Christy and Tina. So glad you guys are here. So this is my fridge. This is my real fridge on a real day when, you know, I haven't gone in here and cleaned it out first to make sure you guys are, you know, impressed with it or anything. But you can see I have acrylic bins in here because there was a semblance of organization at one point, but it's not too far bad. And I think that what you'll actually see is because I've done this, because I've kind of set up these bins and I've set up a system here, that it isn't going to be that hard to get it back into shape. So you know, that's one of the things I really want to encourage you to consider, is to get these bins. So these are clear acrylic bins. So you can see this one's pretty wide, and I got the ones that I have in my fridge at Marshall's, and they're pretty reasonably priced. I know you can also get them on Amazon. There's lots of options there. But you know, these are really great. It was like maybe $10 for like a set of 2 or 3 of them, and I got a couple of sets. So I would say it's totally worth it. So this is the yogurt bin, so it does still have yogurt in it, so that's good, although it has a container of heavy cream that expires in May. So that's way gross and old, so that's going away. I forgot what month it was for a second. These are some leftover little naan bread that I have. I made some curry, so I'm going to stick these in the freezer. You'll see why when we get to the freezer. Okay, so I guess what I'm starting with, and I guess I should maybe explain it, forgive me, I'm still sort of new to this. I'm going to take out the bins and look at what's currently in them, and if there's anything in them that doesn't really belong there, I'm going to take it out and I'll just put it over on the counter so that I can at least reset my bins. So this actually has little yogurt drinks that belong to my kids, but somehow these two bins got swapped with each other because I had Jell-O in this larger bin and these drinks in this smaller bin. So I'm going to switch those back. So let's do this quickly. You know, they have different sizes. You can see this bin is a lot more narrow than the other one. So I think that's what when I got the bins, I got like a couple different size options. It's also a little bit shorter. But like these yogurt drinks fit perfectly in this one, 3 across. So, and then I keep these in the fridge at a place where my kids can see them when they open the door. And that's definitely another thing that's important, at least in my family, is kind of the visibility thing. So I have well, he'll be 4 on Friday or Saturday, on the 19th, 4-year-old, a 6.5-year-old, and an adult child also. No, I'm just kidding, I love my husband. No, I have a husband. And, you know, they're all the kind of people who occasionally are looking for a snack. So I like to have things, you know, that they can find easily. I like to have them in a spot where they can find them. So this is the Jell-O bin. I have little cups that I order on Amazon, and I usually make my own Jell-O cups, but like I said, we had a kind of busy couple of weeks. So I did go ahead and buy some. So now my top shelf is basically reset. So there's the yogurt, the Jell-O, and the little yogurt drinks, and I use the little plastic cups also. I sometimes buy these large containers, like a quart size of yogurt, but I will portion it out into the little cups so that, you know, it's easier for my kids to get. And, you know, we tend to waste it less if it's portioned out because it's easier to grab, and the kids can't really easily, you know, take out the quart of yogurt and scoop it out. So anyway, so that's the top shelf. So that looks pretty good so far, right? We're gonna get a little trickier as we get lower. Let me just grab this stool so I can sit down as we do this. Okay, so this next shelf down is a crazy mess, and there's a lot of moving parts. So I have lettuce here. That doesn't go there. Put that over there for now. I have some leftover chicken, so I'm just going to stick that down here because I already know that this is my leftover bin right here. Honey, careful, don't fall over. I have some orange juice that hasn't expired yet. And this hasn't expired either, so that's good. The only time we really find that things expire is when we're out of the house, you know, more than usual. So, like I've said a couple of times, we had a couple of busy weeks. We had some family visiting, so we were out of the house, and some of it was a little unexpected, so I had bought some of our regular groceries. Thankfully, there isn't usually so much stuff. Can you go back in the living room, please? Thank you. There isn't usually so much stuff in here that I lose track of it or that it goes bad very quickly or before I notice it, because it's, you know, we try to keep it like pretty pared down, stuff that we actually use and will use up, and, you know, that way I just keep like it's always rotating and things aren't getting wasted. So less food waste is definitely a huge perk of having an organized, like, simplified fridge. You know, I've seen some people, I've even tried it myself, to have like an inventory list, but when you're stockpiling things, it's still kind of like, you might see it on the list, but it's buried somewhere in the back and it's really hard to find. So by the time you're kind of in there digging around, you know, you might actually give up before you find it, and things just kind of are more likely to go bad before you can get around to eating them. So yeah, food waste has gone way down in our family, so it's a big perk. So I'm just going to keep working through this shelf. So strawberries here. So here's another product, actually. I have it handy right here. These are Tupperware brand. So I'm just going to say right off the bat, I don't sell Tupperware. I actually don't really have any friends who like sell Tupperware, but I had like a lady that I met at a fair or something, and I bought these fridge containers, and I was a little skeptical, but they really are like super awesome at keeping your produce fresh for longer than, you know, if you just keep it in the container. So the Tupperware lady instructed me that when you use these containers, that you should put your produce in them naked and dirty. So I'm going to actually just open these containers. I'm going to open this and just dump it right in here, right out of the package. And put the lid on. And then on the front of these containers, there's this little chart, these little pictures. So I find the picture of a strawberry, and it shows me which setting I should put on the top, and this says the full circle. So right there on that setting. So now that will keep, like, you know, strawberries tend to be one of those things that goes bad if you don't eat it immediately. So these have been a lifesaver. And I do have 2 quarts of strawberries, so I'm going to just put the other quart right into the other container. Hey, sweetheart, would you go into the living room for me, please? Thank you. Oops. Fuzzy already. Okay. So, anyway, there's my strawberries, and they're stored in these nice containers. And I know that if these containers, you know, are in my fridge, like with stuff in them, that I don't have to worry as much about eating them, like, you know, right away. But still, obviously important to keep track of it. Another thing I want to share about these containers, and since I took out this lettuce, I'll move to this. Okay, so here's a package of cucumbers that I bought before our escapades, and all of the ends are fuzzy. So those, unfortunately, are a casualty, as well as, I'm sure, the asparagus inside this container. So, just put those aside for now. But this container is in my fridge, and it's empty already, because I know that, like, if I buy lettuce, which I buy, you know, pretty much every shopping trip, I'm going to want to make sure I have a space in my fridge for this big container that holds the lettuce. So even if it's empty, I still put it here, and this is where I store it, instead of storing it empty in one of my containers, because this way it'll always have space in my fridge for this container. So like I said, this one's already empty, so thankfully I can just open this up. And same deal, I'm gonna take the lettuce out of the plastic wrapper that it's in, but I'm gonna just kind of plop it right in here. Naked and dirty, that's what she says. So this one already got torn open a little bit. Now this is a whole head of lettuce. It's pretty snug in there. I think I am gonna try to fit this one in there too. You know that trick. You smack your head of lettuce on a flat surface, then you can just pop the little knob out without wasting a lot of the lettuce. Food service trick. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to fit this in the container as well. So here's my second head of lettuce. And you know what? Maybe I'll break it in half. Hey, honey. Are you watching a movie with Jack? That actually made it worse. So that's lettuce. Is that good? Mmm, it smells fresh and green, doesn't it? And I'll figure it out. But I have fit, yeah. No whipped cream right now. You can have your cookies though. full heads of lettuce in here. I think I might have ripped them up, you know, taken off like the wilted outside leaves and just torn them up roughly so they fit. So I'll maybe refine that a little bit later. But I'm going to look on the outside of the box and see the lettuce setting. So it's half circle. So put on that setting and then put that back. So this, sorry if I'm kind of in the way here, but this lower corner right here is where I keep those. The bottom drawers of your fridge are usually already designed to help keep your produce fresh. Even if we don't have like a really fancy drawer where you can adjust those settings or anything, but ours are labeled fresh drawer and crisper drawer. So typically it's a good idea to keep your fruit and vegetables separate because they tend to ripen at different paces. Fruit tends to ripen a little bit faster than most vegetables. So if you can help it, if you have space, you should keep your fruit and your vegetables separate. So in this one I have oranges and lemons and I have a little bit of tomatoes in here, which I don't tend to keep the tomatoes in the fridge either, but just I want to keep them a little longer. So I put them in there to slow down the ripening. And then in this one over here, I have carrots and celery. So that's pretty good, pretty consistent with what I like to do. So then these strawberry containers can fit right in front of. Oh, you found the truffles, huh? That's your favorite, huh? Okay, go in the living room, please. Okay, so back to the center. So I have this acrylic bin that's for all of my deli meats and cheeses. So I'm pretty sure that there's nothing in here ready to expire. Oh wait, I'm mistaken. Here's a little block of cheese that has a little bit of little friend growing on it, so we'll get rid of that. And yeah, aside from that, this one is pretty good. And then I also, I think the set that I bought came with an egg storage bin. This one in particular holds, you know, something like 24 eggs or, yeah, 24. So that's pretty good. You know, we tend to buy like the 18 pack of eggs and I try to rotate them so the ones in the front are the older ones. So then when I cook or if I buy a new package, I kind of move the old ones front or forward when I fill it up again. So these go right here, and I use this bin way more than I use the eggs, so that's why for me it's still fine and convenient to have this bin on top of that one. I think when you're putting your things in your fridge and deciding, you know, how to stack them or how to store them, you really have to think about your typical, you know, habits and patterns of like using the stuff in your fridge too. So in our family, we use the eggs less frequently than the cheese and the deli meats and stuff. So that's a good spot for it for us. And then they push back far enough on our shelf that there always is a little tiny spot here. So if there's some kind of special, like I have a little thing of hummus here, and I have a little container of mozzarella cheese. So I definitely want to remember those. I'm not going to just put them in the meat and cheese bin. I'm going to keep them right here in front so that I can see them. So another good tip is to keep anything that's like maybe extra perishable or anything that you know you want to use up more quickly, like towards the front of the shelf so that you can see it and you don't forget about it. Also, just a tip, I mean, most people know, but the higher up shelves are warmer. So the lower down you get in your fridge, the colder the temperature is. So typically milk and meats and that kind of thing should be stored, you know, on at least the middle shelf, if not the bottom shelf. So we store our milk in the middle. That's the most consistent, so that's still a pretty good spot for it. But if you have, you know, anything that's like highly perishable, like dairy products or that kind of stuff, you should really put it lower down and try to avoid putting those on the top shelf. The top shelf, like I do, is a really great place for stuff that you want to be like quick grab stuff, easy access. butter. So then I've got this long skinny jar right here that I keep peanut butter and jelly in. So I keep that right next to the bin that has the meats and cheeses in it, the deli stuff, because it's kind of a similar sort of category for us. If we're going to make a sandwich, you know, we might make peanut butter and jelly, or we might make a deli sandwich. So that's kind of why I have those positioned next to each other. So, okay. There you go. There you go. So anyway, that's why I put those there. So I have a couple more bins. Now this bin on the bottom shelf, this is another large bin, and this is the leftover bin. So right now, I pulled out this container of leftover chicken earlier, so I put that right in there. I also have a little container of deli potato salad, which isn't technically a leftover, but it's something that will be eaten maybe with leftovers, or you know, someone's looking for something to add to their lunch. So this is where our leftovers live. We always keep them in this bin, and it's always on the bottom right-hand side of the fridge. So again, like for my husband, if I'm out and he's looking for lunch or something, this is really convenient for him because he knows that he can look right there for leftover things. So on that note, here is, we have a rotisserie chicken, so this is the rest of it. We might still make a sandwich or two out of this, so I'm going to keep it in the leftover bin instead of freezing it or making soup yet. So then here in the middle, this is kind of a special bin, and I did add this later. I have, before I had this bin here, I had this middle space on the bottom here kind of left empty, because that way if I had a larger amount of a leftover, like if I had a large amount of rice or something and I had it in a bigger container that didn't fit into the leftover bin, then I would put that right in this middle section here. But that doesn't really happen that often. You'll see when I show you my freezer, I usually package up most of my leftovers in like individual servings and freeze them for my husband to take to work, or just for easy grab meal size portion things. But I do have, on occasion, I have like things for baking. So I have a couple of tubes of this, you know, Pillsbury dough things to make like monkey bread, some croissant or crescent roll dough. So I found that I was, you know, discovering I had a new category. I have a pre-made pie crust. Don't tell, I'm a pie snob, but I do use the pre-made stuff occasionally. And then I don't use cookie dough to bake. But anyway, the point is, this is all things for like baking. So I have a baking bin, and that has taken the place on the bottom shelf. So there is my fridge, and it's pretty well organized now. The only other things that I took out of the bins that weren't in their right spot was some more peanut butter. So I'll just, actually, let me put it right in front, because that's kind of special peanut butter that needs to get eaten more quickly. And then this is a little drink for the kids. So I'll put that, this is, you know, where the main beverages and milk and stuff go. So that's the main part of my fridge. I didn't do it this time because I did it recently, but I do also just want to say that you know, if I'm cleaning out the fridge, I do like to spray it down and wipe it. These are the things that I like to use the most. This is a microfiber cloth. You know, it's nice and absorbent, it's soft, it does well on like the glass surfaces and the plastic as well. And then I have a subscription to Grove, so I got, this is glass cleaner. So I use this because most of the shelves are glass, but I also have an all-purpose cleaner that I sometimes use. This scent is fresh cut grass. So this is the Mrs. Meyer's. I like to use this one. I prefer to use it on the counters and stuff because it has like a perfume, and so I find that if I spray it in the fridge, then the perfume kind of lingers for a while. So you know, I don't necessarily want my fridge to smell like fresh cut grass when I open it, and I don't know like how the perfume will, you know, whatever, act with some of the food items that might be exposed to the air in the fridge. So I don't usually tend to use the scented ones, but you know, in a pinch I do, or if there's something more stuck on. So anyway, so those are what I use to clean the shelves and the surface. So now I'm going to tackle the door, which of course is usually a little bit more daunting because it's full of all the things that we don't really use nearly as much, or you know, that we might tend to end up having multiples of. And I just would like to say right off the bat that if you haven't used something in your condiment door or in your condiment section of your fridge in, you know, several months or something, and even if it hasn't expired, if you think that you're not going to use it again, you can get rid of it. You have permission to throw it away. Maybe it's something you didn't really love that much. Maybe you need it for a recipe that you're, you know, not sure if you'll make it again, or when you'll make it again. But I just want to say that, you know, it's not necessarily worth the stress and the frustration of having a crowded door of condiments, just so that you can hold on to that thing that, you know, you might not use, when you can probably go to the store and get it again for just a couple of dollars if you end up finding that you do need it again. So I'm going to take this out because this falls into that category, and I'm going to just, I'm going to put it aside so I can dump it out and recycle the bottle. So in my door here, I'm going to take out these canned beverages because we're not drinking them that quickly, so we don't really need to keep them chilled in the fridge. We can always put one in. And I have a jar of bread and butter pickles. I have a second jar of bread and butter pickles. So I have 2 jars of the same thing that they're almost full. Otherwise I would check the expiration dates and maybe combine them, but they're both almost full, so that won't work. So unfortunately I have to keep both of them in here. I do go through pickles pretty quickly, so I'm not super concerned, but I might try to like make some sandwiches or some burgers or something, you know, soon, so that we can maybe do something that will use up more of them than just waiting for regular usage. So I'm breaking my own rule here. So the door, along with the top shelf, is like the warmest part of your fridge, and if you think about it, that does make sense because you open it and it's kind of swinging out into the warm, you know, part of your kitchen or your room or whatever. So the door is also not a great place to store dairy products. A lot of fridges have like an egg section built into them, but you should not store your eggs there because they will go bad more quickly, unless you use them really quickly and you're confident about that. But typically the door is really the best to store condiments because condiments tend to have a higher salt and vinegar content in them, which helps them to stay good for longer. You know, stuff like salad dressings and pickles and things like that. So yeah, so if you can manage it, you should store your all your dairy products in the main part of your fridge. We store ours here, even though I'm saying that, because we go through them super quickly. This is the creamer for our coffee, and we only open the fridge like 4 inches to reach in and grab it because it's right on this corner. So for us it works, and we haven't experienced that it's spoiled or anything like that yet. So, so anyway, here's some more chocolate truffles, so I'll add that to that container that I'm going to put in the refrigerator. Here's some wine. I tend to keep the wine or champagne or that kind of thing on the bottom shelf, so I'll put that down there. I have some whipped cream, some chocolate syrup, and butterscotch syrup. So, you know, this is for ice cream. My kids tend to like making little sundaes. What I'm really just doing right now looking at all the things here and making sure that they're things that my family actually uses and that I'm confident that we're going to use up within a reasonable time frame, because if they're already open, you know, we definitely want to check that. So yeah, this is expired already. So get rid of that one. See this, you know, that's actually February 21. Okay, so that is also expired. It's not expired. And okay, so apparently all my bullion is expired. So but that's good to know. And actually, I just discovered that, and my vegetable bullion is something that I use pretty regularly. So I'm going to write vegetable bullion on my shopping list. So that's there already. Okay, so... Oh, donut! This is a birthday present that he just got today from the Drawdies. Thank you, Drawdies. I have considered getting a Grove subscription so many times, never do it. Yeah, Christy, I was a holdout on the Grove thing because, you know, there's a minimum amount of stuff that you have to buy every month, but, you know, we order our toilet paper through there. We like a certain brand of toilet paper that's hard to find elsewhere. And then just, you know, a few of the other cleaning products and some specialty items that we get like every couple of months, and we actually find that it's not difficult, you know, and it's stuff that we would be going and buying at the store anyway. So if I found that we were buying things or ordering things that were, you know, extra, or that it was just adding more clutter or whatever under my sinks, then I would probably cancel it. But so far it's pretty good. So yeah, if you are considering it, you know, actually I have some products that you could try out if you were interested in seeing how you like them. Again, I don't like sell Grove. I'm not like sponsored by anyone or whatever. So that's just a thing that I signed up for. So anyway, okay, so I'm gonna keep going on this. I have a little bit of space up here. It's short, so I'm gonna try to put a couple of short things up here, just because I do like to try to consolidate. All right, let's see. Worcestershire sauce is not good anymore. I haven't done this part in a while actually, so this is really good. Now I have an unopened bottle of barbecue sauce in here. I also have an opened bottle, and they're the same. Like I think we bought them at the same time. So I'm actually going to take the refrigerated one out and store it in my pantry cupboard where I keep my bottles of things, because that's just taking up extra space that doesn't really need to be taken up. 2 bottles of ketchup. We had like a cookout, so I think we just grabbed them from the store, and then they ended up coming home. So that explains all the ketchup, all the mustards and things. My husband is a mustard enthusiast, so I'm going to keep these mustards. This is an empty bottle. It's always fun. So I'll put that back, and actually I put this up here, but I'm going to keep it down here with the other mustards because I like to keep like with like. So if I know, or if Mike knows that he wants to use some mustard, he doesn't have to go searching throughout the whole door or fridge or whatever to find you know, what he's looking for. So, and actually I'm going to put this mayonnaise over here too, because I know that when he is using mustard, he often is using mayonnaise too. So, and then the ketchup is here. So these things kind of, you know, are in a similar category for our family. Try to keep the bottles sideways because sometimes they fall out of that little thing. Alright, so here's some teriyaki sauce. I really like this brand and this kind, but it looks like it might have gotten opened and not used. So that's unfortunate, but I don't see the expiration date. You know what though, I don't see the expiration date easily, but I don't remember when I put this in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it because I know I actually have another bottle of this in my pantry, and if I need more than one bottle, I can just go to the grocery store and get some more of it. So, okay, there's a third bottle of barbecue sauce. So that was the other one. Okay, And these are some spoons that need to stay refrigerated. So in this case, I'm going to move this wine actually back up here because I want to make a little extra room down here for that third jar of pickles if I can. I'm going to move my finger here to this shelf. It's always kind of a little bit of a game of Tetris with the doors. Hopefully see having these bins and just having this sort of organizational system in place already has definitely helped, like when it's time to clean it out again, just to get it back in shape more quickly. So, normally cleaning out the fridge, it might feel daunting, like it's going to be an all-day project or something, but it doesn't have to be. Hey guys. So just as a last thing, I'm going to show you the inside of my freezer, and so let me see, I have a little clip that I was going to try to use. So I can't help you. Just go do that yourself. Okay, so let's see if that works. Okay, so this is my freezer. So in my freezer, this is the small freezer. I also have a chest freezer. So I can tell right off the bat, we have some frozen bread here that I tend to keep in the chest freezer, so I'm actually going to just put that right there right now. So aside from the things that we use frequently, like we have some frozen chicken or some tater tots or whatever, I do some meal prepping, or if I'm cooking a big dinner and I know I'm going to want my husband to be able to take it to work for lunch with him, then I have invested. It was a very small investment, only a couple dollars for I think maybe a package of 4 of this size of container that is freezer safe and microwave safe. And so when I make a dinner, I just instead of putting it away in big containers that are going to get shoved into the back of my fridge and forgotten about and not used up or eaten, I just immediately package it right into these containers here. So as you can see, I have quite a few currently. This is 2 layers deep. I don't know if you can see that, but it also gives him some variety, so he doesn't have to eat the same thing for 4 days in a row when I make a big meal. I need you to go back in the living room for just a few more minutes, okay? I have some ice cube trays here, and I have a little bin here actually, which as far as meal prep stuff goes, this is still sort of part of that. I have individually packaged, little bags of some sweet potatoes that I cooked off, and then I portion them out in single servings, and then I keep it in this so that it's not just little bags kind of floating all over my freezer. So again, it makes it easier to find. If I know that's what I'm looking for, it makes it easier to grab because it's accessible and neat. And sometimes things just get stuck, especially in the freezer because it's kind of tucked in this room. I put these naan bread in the freezer because I gave them to Mike the other day when they were still fresh. But I also I have leftover curry in here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put this package of naan bread right next to the curry so that he knows he can grab that bread correct. The door, it's a similar concept to your refrigerator door, where this isn't really where you should keep things where a temperature fluctuation is going to be harmful. So actually, again, I'm breaking the rule, and I really am breaking it this time, where I have some hamburger patties here, and some breakfast sausages right here. So what I should really do is either transfer these to my chest freezer, or I should put them in a different section of my freezer, because especially in the summer, it's hot. If you don't have central air conditioning or whatever, maybe you're extra hot in your house, and every time you open your freezer, like I'm standing here with mine open, the hot start to thaw these out. And then when you close it, it's going to start to freeze again. But every time it kind of like partially thaws and freezes, it's just going to cause it to go bad more quickly. It also causes like that freezer burn effect. You can see mine have lots of ice in them, and that's because I'm storing them here instead of in a different place in my freezer or in my chest freezer. So I should be fine. I can do that right now. So anyway, that's about it. And special guest appearances, my sons, Jack and Harry. I guess I didn't really think that would be easy to do a video with them, but thank you for your patience and for joining me, and I hope that this was helpful to you. And if you have any specific questions, like if you're struggling with something, I mean, I'm not really saying that I'm an expert or anything, but I just know that this is what I've done and that it's worked really well for me. So, yeah, you're good. Yeah. So leave some comments or questions, and I would be really happy to, help you figure out something that will work for you. Like I said, acrylic bins, a shopping list, and maybe like a to-do or to-use up list, and just keeping minimal contents so that you can have things rotating on a regular basis. So, thank you guys for joining me. I guess I will see you again another time.